In this video, we're going to cover the Beach Blitz event. I'm going to cover how to get all the event currency, the different ways, then I'm going to go through analysis on the value of every single item within the shop for you guys. So let's get into the ways that you can collect them. First of all, through your daily harvested bonuses, you get 600 and they just show up as these little bubbles on the screen. Every time you collect them, you get 5 of them. They don't show up super often. It's like 1 out of 10 to 15 times on average, at least for me. But these bubbles show up every roughly 8 seconds. So you can collect them by hand, or you can buy either in the shop the harvester for 150 pearls, or you can just go to the shop itself and get the harvester there. Or if you really want to be bougie, you can buy the Council VIP pass here, and that includes all of them. But I don't know if I'd recommend that. Anyways, that's one way. Then also, you can get them from your clan. 75 currently that I'm able to collect, but basically every clan member gives you 5, and if you have a full clan that's fairly active, you can get a total of 100 per day. So that's the most consistent way to get them. Another way is through your expeditions. Here for the item expedition, you can get 4, 40, or 500 of them. It's the chance of getting the highest, but I've probably ran this type of expedition 7 times this season so far, and I've only gotten most 40s, and I've only got 2 of them. So it's like you're guaranteed to get between 50 and 100 every time you run it. So that's a solid way to get them as well. The last way, well, I guess there's 2 ways. You could possibly get them through a promo code. I haven't seen one that includes them this season, but the other way that I did see at the beginning is just through the discount bundles. They'll kind of show up just below the shop icon, and it'll just be a discount bundle, and sometimes it'll have an option to buy maybe 1,000 of the event currency, and that's another way to get them. Obviously here we have legendary mythical piece, a skill reset, watcher, weapon master, harvester, a few jewel box, case, chest, troop speed boost, sapphires, fresh start, main city change, then of course hours of troop and gold, and then some expedition resources, expedition new start, adventure teleport, and adventure resurrection. Now this kind of follows the same ranking as previous seasons, with a few of them moving up the ranking. So before I start this, let me just show you how I calculate the ranking. So obviously we have 50 sapphires as a item in the event shop, and it's rated for 150 pearls for what it costs. So we can take the 50 sapphires, which is the in-game value, because obviously 50 sapphires is worth 50 sapphires, and then we divide that by what it is in the shop, which is 150 pearls, and we get a value of 0.33 sapphires per pearl. So that's a bit on the lower end, but I just want to show you guys how we calculate that. So let's get into the ranking of all these though. So at the top, we have the troops and gold. Now, this season, your recruiter value is a bit higher because each city is worth more VP. So if you buy the gold, you can upgrade your cities and you get more troops per hour. So it's ranked higher than previous years. But then we also have the troops, which are a bit more valuable, but it's still at the top as kind of a item that you can't really put an exact value on, because as you have more cities or higher level cities, then the item is worth more. And it can help you progress in your season, whether it's ranking at a higher value or simply promoting to a league that you wouldn't have been able to otherwise if you hadn't spent all your event currency on the troop thing. So I might do that a little bit, but I'm kind of planning on dropping a plat myself. Next item is the Expedition New Start, rated at a 4 sapphires per pearl value. And this is listing it as an 800 sapphire evaluation, because if you send out a expedition and you bring it back and then you want to send out a second expedition of the day, it costs 800. Simple as that. Going into the expedition resurrection, It does cost 500 to first resurrect it, and then it's an additional 500 each time. So if you do it a lot, it is ranked higher. But for the first one, I kind of have it just at the base 500 sapphires, and that's at a 3.33 sapphire per pearl evaluation. And then I just have the question mark because obviously you use it more, then it goes up in value. Going down, we have the legendary, and that's at a 4,000 sapphire valuation, because if you're buying packs in shop, and even if you buy them from, or you purchase your sapphires from the online web shop, then you'll get more, of course. But I have it at 4,000 sapphires evaluation because this lets you buy a bit more than 3 mighty chests, or those big cases and jewel boxes. And generally, you won't get a legendary out of 3 of them. But you'd get them around that point. You get them out of like 5 of them maybe. But because there's so many people that have a lot of legendaries already, then it is pretty likely you're going to get a duplicate. And so that lowers the value if you have more of them. But if you're a new player and I always say if you have less than 10 legendaries, or you're at 10 or less than that for legendaries, I would recommend buying the legendary item in the event shop, because there's a high chance that you're going to get a legendary that you don't already own. But if you have more than them, it's worth less, of course. And really the stardust that you get out of 3.5 mighty chests is going to be worth more than the legendary to you. So that's why I have it ranked at 4K. Then going on to the mythical item, I have that ranked at 1,500 sapphires, and that's a 1.5 sapphire per pearl evaluation. And that's simply because one chest is 1,250 sapphires, one of those mighty chests. But I think it's worth a little bit more than that, because generally you don't get a mythical item out of a single mighty chest, but it is a decent chance that you do. So it's like 1 1/3 mighty chest. That's just kind of how I'm ranking in my mind. I realize that's not an exact thing, but obviously the sky dust that you get from opening those chests is going to be more valuable than the mythical if it's a duplicate mythical. But that's kind of just the backstory of how I rank it. So going on to the speed boost, it's worth 250 because there's 10 of them. They're 25 sapphires each, and that's at a 1.25 sapphire per pearl evaluation. Then going on to the skill reset, I have that. Realistically, I'm thinking people generally reset their skills 3 to 4 times a season. And if you kind of have a good plan of how you're going to go throughout your season, it might be less. Personally, obviously I haven't played much this season, so I didn't reset my skills at all. But for the average person, I believe, especially in the mid to lower leagues, that I'm going to list it at people resetting their skills 3 to 4 times as an average throughout the leagues. And I think that's fairly accurate. And for that, it is a 0.75 to a 1.25 sapphire per pearl evaluation. Going on to Watcher, it is a 150 sapphire evaluation because you can buy it from shop for 30 days for 1,500 sapphires, but this is only for 3 days in the event shop. And so it's a 1.0 evaluation. So it's 1 sapphire per pearl, basically. For the jewel box, chests, and cases, I'm going to list them all together because they're all priced the same in shop and in like the game shop. So that if you buy a 10-pack of them, they're 135 sapphires each, and if you buy them individually, they're 150. So that's what I'm ranking them as, and that gives it a 0.68 to 0.75 sapphire per pearl evaluation. Going on to the Weapon Master, and realistically the Harvester is ranked the same, but I personally think the Harvester is a little bit more valuable this time around because, first of all, you get the 600 daily Harvester collects versus a normal 60. So a lot more value out of Harvester during the event, and also it helps you boost your pearls, like, because you can collect them throughout the day, and realistically just leave your device on and it'll collect it for you. So that's a good way to use it, and I personally will be using that next season though. I'll be buying a few Harvester from the event shop and using them that way myself. Then of course Weapon Master swaps your gear for you, super useful, especially as a beginner, so you don't have to be swapping constantly, and you can rearrange your skill tree more efficiently. And so that both are at a 100 sapphire evaluation, and that brings it to a 0.67 sapphire per pearl evaluation. Last few here, we got the Adventurer Teleport. Like I said earlier, it is a 50 sapphire evaluation because it costs 50, and that's a 1.0 sapphire per pearl evaluation. But I'm ranking it a bit lower because, again, you can just wait the extra hour or two to collect it versus boosting it immediately back to collect once the adventurer has finished his expedition. But then for main city change, costs 200, which ranks it at a 0.5 sapphire per pearl evaluation. Although it's obviously at the bottom just for the ranking, it's also pretty unvaluable because you get them from your item expedition, which you're running the pearls for anyways. Like personally, I have, I think 3 or 4 that I've just saved up, so I don't plan on using them a lot anytime soon. And I'm guessing if people are running the pearl item expedition during this event, then they're gonna have plenty of main city changes as well. So it's ranked pretty low, and I'm glad the devs realized it and ranked it pretty low as well for the value of the event shop. Going on to sapphires, obviously there's 50 of them, they're worth 50, and so that's, or I'm sorry, there's 50 of them and it costs 150, so it's a 0.33 sapphire per pearl evaluation. And lastly, we have the fresh start at a 200 sapphire evaluation, and that is at a 0.27 sapphire per pearl evaluation for the final number there. And obviously the first fresh start is free. 90% sure it's free. I haven't fresh start for a while, but I imagine, or I personally never fresh start, but generally you don't really need to fresh start more than once for the specific reasons that other people do it. So I am going to keep it at the 200 sapphire evaluation because that's what it would cost for the second fresh start. But that's it. That's all the data. I tried to push through it, but it probably brought us up to like 10 minutes or so, 10, 15 minutes. So anyways, if you found this useful, then awesome. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment, all that other bullshit. But definitely join my Discord server. That'll be linked in the description of the video. And there you can keep up with promo codes. You can ask questions, just talk really if you want. Post your gear and your walls and snipes and brag about it, all that. And of course, there is a monthly giveaway for, I'm thinking of raising it to $20, but it's been at 10 and just like rolls up if no one gets it every time. And so with that, you just guess my, oh my God. With that, you just guess my calendar gems. So obviously the 2 gems, so you can just guess them and get a chance to win the money. Someone just won it last month for, it rolled up to $70. So someone won that last month. So that was cool. And yeah, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed, of course, but I will see you next time.